Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure for me to present my research here at EIMAD. The research is focused on an educational tool by Carl Czerny, and in particular in the form of letters. So a brief introduction about the composer. Carl Czerny, as everybody know, was an important pianist and also a relevant piano teacher. Maybe the one of the most important in the history of the 19th century music. As a productive and influencer musician, he played a crucial role in the development of piano teaching, and he has a lot of students of piano. He began teaching in Vienna at the age of 15, and in particular in this slide we can see all the most important piano students: Thalberg, Eller, Liszt, and the nephew of Beethoven, Carl. Like his father, Wenzel, Czerny started to teach piano very soon, and he offered the lessons with a strict schedule for about 12 hours every day, and organizing also concerts for his best students to be held at his house. Czerny quickly earned a great reputation for his teaching methods, and he followed the masters of the past, in particular Beethoven and Mozart. In the context of his piano lessons, he also composed many works for his pupils, and his early piano teaching style was inspired by the models of the past. In particular, he affirmed in his biography that he became familiar with the teaching methods of the well-known masters of his time, and he primarily owed it to the circumstance that later he was lucky to train many important students to a degree of perfection for which they become world famous. It is important to note that among the students of Carl Czerny were also some girls, so he trained not only male pianists but also female. And he proposed to his students to play not only exercises but also a selection of pieces ranging from his piano works, but also resorting to the works of the masters of the past. So again, Beethoven and Mozart. Czerny also considered the personality and the musical tastes of his pupils. In particular, he found important to establish a relationship with his students, and this is clear when dealing with the letters, because the letters are literary works, and they are addressed to an imaginary pupil, Cecilia, that started to play the piano, and they demonstrate the relevance that Czerny devoted to the relationship with the pupil. In particular, the work was published in 1837, and it was composed of 10 letters. The first publisher of the work was Diabelli in Vienna, and then it was reprinted in an English version. The works contain practical but also theoretical suggestions and advices for the pianists, and it was intended to be accompanied to the pianoforte school by Carl Czerny, and also to be used during the practicing of exercises and piano repertoire. The writing style used by Czerny is very familiar, and it aims at establish imaginary dialogue with the pupil. What about the content of the letter? As I mentioned before, the letters were addressed to an imaginary lady. It is important to note that during the 19th century, piano lessons represent part of the education of the women, in particular, besides of painting and cooking. So it was important for a lady to be skilled in music, in particular in piano playing and in singing. And this is particularly evident in music iconography. We can see here in the slides a painting by Renoir, Girls at the Piano, and it is dated at the end of the 19th century, so some years after the death of Carl Czerny. What about the content? We can see that the formula used by Czerny is the one of short, friendly, or cheerful conversation in each letter. The letter, as I said before, were 10, and each letter is devoted to a specific feature of piano technique or playing. In particular, the body is evidenced by Carl Czerny as the first instrument to approach the piano, and this is an idea that is present in all of the letters. The letters begins with the first rudiments of the piano, namely the theoretical knowledge of keys and notes. And it is interesting because Czerny defined them with ironic comments. He said that they are the only really tedious and unpleasant points in learning music. One of the first indications that Czerny gives to the imaginary pupil that was called Miss Cecilia is to assume a proper posture of the piano, so to be confident with the instrument and to sit down at the instrument properly. And this emphasizes the importance of body, the role of body, and it is a very innovative idea for that era. In particular, Czerny adopted a different approach comparing to the composer of the past, in particular Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach. In fact, since piano overcame the harpsichord in musical environments of the 19th century, it required, of course, a different use of the body of the performance. What about the other letter? The second is titled On Touch, Tone, and the Mode of Treating the Pianoforte. And Czerny introduced to Miss Cecilia some basic information on the touch and also the passage of the tongue. In addition, he also points out the importance of the principle of equality, dividing it into 3 different categories: equality of strength of the fingers, equality in point of quickness, and equality in holding the notes down. Czerny also specifies the importance that the 5 fingers being equal, and the thumb is clear, much stronger than any other of the fingers, but they should be used in an equal way with the same strength. Other letters are dedicated to various elements of playing piano. In particular, the third letter is about the duration of the notes and the importance of count the value of them while playing a piece. The first one is dedicated to the expression and graces or ornaments. It is relevant to note that Czerny, recalling to Miss Cecilia the importance to study with perseverance 3 hours a day, of which about half of hour should be appropriated to the exercises and much more to playing over the old pieces, and the remaining time to the study of new composition and the way of realizing ornaments. Czerny declared also that feeling and sensibility, expression are the soul of music. So it is necessary to observe these aspects, such the marks of expression, the articulation, and this is the very nature of pianoforte comparing to the harpsichord, the idea of dynamic and expression by the sign of pianoforte, mezzo piano, mezzo forte. As the fifth letter, it focuses on some expedients to adopt when performing in public. So Czerny focus also the importance not only to the performance in a private context, but also in front of an audience. And Czerny underlines the relevance of sight reading, and it was a practice of that era to sight read pieces also while playing chamber music, and this was a part of the skills of a good pianist. The sixth letter deals with the selection of repertoire, not limited to the exercise and the etudes, but the most famous composers of that time, for example, Bertini and Kramer, but including also some pieces as rondo, sonata, variation, as long as the latter are appropriate to the technical level achieved by the pupil. In the letter number 7, 8, and 9 cover the most relevant issues in studying harmony. So Czerny dedicated also attention to music theory and harmony. He mentioned the intervals, the formation of harmonical relationships, the importance to know how to realize the figured bass, and also the relevance of improvisation. In the last letter, Czerny gives to Miss Cecilia some information of how to improvise at the piano when nothing is being written down before, not previously prepared or studied, but which is merely the fruit of momentary and accidental inspiration of the pianist. These are the cases of the so-called extemporaneous performance, and the title of the letter is focused on this particular kind of performance because we know there were many ways of improvising at the piano. So the attention of Czerny was on extemporaneous performance without any sketch. In conclusion, we can see from this overview that the letters are very innovative in their content and in their aims. In particular, they adopt a learning-centered approach that was developed later in time in pedagogy. Czerny dedicated the same attention to theoretical and also practical aspects of piano playing and training, and he proposed the principle of graduation and proportionality in training the pupil, so with a progressive increase in proposing exercises, etudes, and also theoretical notions. This work is oriented to all the pupils, so it has a specific addressee, that is the imaginary lady Cecilia, aged 11-12, we imagined, but it could be used with pupils of all age in every stage of progress. And also they face the challenge to motivate the pupil to practice at home and to become a performer, so in front of an audience. I think that these are the most important features of these letters, and I strongly suggest to the piano teacher of this time to read them and to propose them to their pupils. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Rui?
Sim, Giovanna,
yeah,
just a question. This is a very typical procedure from the Middle Ages, and when the Gradus ad Parnassum from Johann Fuchs is in this format, master, disciple. It's in teaching this method of conversation between master and disciple. Do you think this is a close situation like this? Is related to this master disciple? Do you think it's similar?
No.
Okay.
No, it's quite different because there is not a conversation between the master and the pupil, but only the master that writes to the pupil. So, okay. Dear Miss Cecilia, here is it, the second lessons of piano. You should do this and this.
There's no feedback.
No feedback.
Okay.
Thank you.